Hey folks, James Jenkins here, Propelio Academy. This is our insurance course. We are in episode 2. We are talking all about renovation insurance fundamentals in this episode, the rehab property, the fix and flip, the builder's risk, all of that sort of thing. So let's just dive right in, shall we? All right. Sources of risk on a renovation property. When you are buying a property that you intend to rehab and turn around and sell, what are the things that you need to be concerned about when you are putting your insurance program together? Let's talk about that for a second. The first is going to be third-party bodily injury and property damage on your premises. It's important that we note this is third party. This is someone else outside of you, outside of your employees, your contractors, some random person who comes in, whether they're a vendor or a member of the general public. If they have an accident or an injury on your premises, you need to be aware of that. Next is your property damage. This is the property itself, any detached structures, any of your own property, tools and equipment, inventory, things to be installed, things that have already been installed, appliances, infrastructure, copper wiring, etc. Property damage and loss is very important. Contractual liability. This is a big one, especially if you're acting as your own contractor, because third-party contractual liability can get really messy depending on the relationships that you have with outside entities, whether it's a contractor or a vendor, a service provider. If you are agreeing to receive liability for someone else's actions, then you need to be aware of that and you need to be planning for it when we set up your insurance program. Job site injuries are another big one. This is for your first-party bodily injury claims, your contractors, your employees, even you yourself potentially. If there is a job site injury, we need to be making arrangements for these risks that you are facing on your renovation project. So some essential coverages to address the risks that we just talked about. First, we have general liability. Think of general liability as the remedy for accidents and injuries that happen to a third party, an uninterested, outside of you party. Next is property insurance. This is extremely fundamental. You probably already knew you needed property insurance when you started watching this video. The property insurance will cover the structure itself, will cover the implements and tools that you are using on the premises if you are the contractor, if you have the coverage in place, as well as inventory to be installed, and also any detached structures. If there's a warehouse or a shed or a garage or carport or something along those lines, you're going to be covering that using property insurance. Some things you want to be very aware of with renovation insurance, your builder's risk, your fix and flip policies, additional insured status for you and also for the vendors and service providers that you are utilizing. Additional insured status literally means you are adding someone as a named person on your insurance, or you're asking someone else to name you on their insurance. When you are an additional insured party, then you enjoy all of the protections afforded by that policy. Waiver of subrogation is some really fancy insurance words for protection against the other party's insurance company. Here's how waiver of subrogation works. You have insurance company X, let's say it's your insurance company. Insurance company Y is some other party's insurance company. Subrogation is the process why waiver of subrogation. Let's talk about that for a second. So subrogation is a process where an insurance company will go after a third party to collect money that they paid out for a claim or a loss. This happens when the insurance company thinks that that party was somehow responsible, legally liable, or negligent, or in some way contributed to that claim or loss that happens. That's subrogation. What a waiver of subrogation does is you are waiving the insurance company's right to subrogate against a different party. And what that means is if you're giving someone else a waiver of subrogation, you are telling your insurance company, you can't subrogate against this party over here. And if someone else, a contractor, a vendor, a supplier, gives you a waiver of subrogation, they are telling their insurance company that that insurance company is not allowed to come after you to recover their damages. So you want to be very sure your additional insured status and waiver of subrogation is covered in detail. We're going to cover these a little bit more in the risk transfer chapter later on in the course. But a hold harmless agreement is a legal document where another party agrees that they will defend you in the event of a claim or loss where you could potentially be liable for damages. A hold harmless agreement is a really good thing. You want to make sure you have that. Lastly, it is workers' compensation. This is where we're going to talk about it for just a smidge longer than before in episode 1. Workers' compensation is a very interesting subject in the state of Texas because we are the only state in the union that is optional for workers' compensation insurance. New Jersey says they're optional, but they really aren't. There's a lot of regulatory things that make it very difficult to get away with not having it. In Texas, we truly are optional. There's a couple of things you need to know if you have any 1099s or employees that are working for you in any capacity. The first is, if you do choose to forego workers' compensation entirely, then you have to, by state law and statute, must register as a non-subscriber with the Texas Workforce Commission. There's a couple of forms that you have to fill out. Ask your insurance agent for those forms. There's 2 of them where you are declaring your intent to be a non-subscriber, which means that for any job site injuries, third-party contractors, your employees, you are going to self-insure for those losses, meaning that if they happen, you're just going to pay for them out of pocket. The dangerous thing about that is job site injuries in the state of Texas have no statutory limits. They are limitless, meaning that if there is a medical injury, a job site injury of some kind, it is potentially unlimited financial liability, which is a very scary thing. The cost of a workers' compensation policy, in most cases, is far less scary than the possibility of having an uncapped medical liability. So you definitely want to make sure you talk to your agent about workers' compensation insurance for sure. If you have additional questions about rehab insurance, builder's risk, renovation properties, any of these sorts of things, please feel free to visit our website and schedule a no-cost, no-sales pitch consultation with yours truly. You can visit jjairm.com/consultation. This has been episode 2 of the Propelio Academy Insurance course. I hope you've enjoyed it. Stick around for the rest of the episodes or have a great day. Thanks.